Good day everyone, and thanks for tuning in. We say hello to Queensland, and I'm about to embark on what's probably the most adventurous trip of my life yet. So let's start our day at Brisbane Airport, shall we? A very good morning everyone, and welcome back to another one of my trip reports. And this morning I'm coming to you from Brisbane Airport at the domestic terminal, and I'm very excited today because I am joining Regional Express Airlines on one of their milk runs into the outback of Queensland, into the interior of Queensland. This flight from Brisbane to Mount Isa, it will take I think about 9 stops. To be honest, I've stopped counting. Every time I look at the itinerary, it's just a blur of destinations that I've never heard before. So I'm pretty excited to get this journey started. So it will be on a little Saab 340 propeller aircraft. I'm gonna be spending about 9.5 to 10 hours on that plane. So let's do this. If you're new to my channel, my name's Ryan, and I make heaps of travel and food related videos. If you like such content, hit the subscribe button and bell icon so you don't miss out on what's coming up next in this eventful trip in the Sunshine State of Queensland. Brisbane was bustling this morning as the airport was handling its morning bank of departing flights to all over the country. Prior to the pandemic, Brisbane was Australia's third busiest airport after Sydney and Melbourne. Check-in counters for Rex is very conveniently located in the center of the terminal. My roller bag wasn't going to fit into the small overhead, so it had to be checked in. We boarded from gate 32, and here's the tip. Buy your own food before boarding because for the 10-hour journey, it was just packets of snacks. So after security, I bought a ham and cheese toastie and a Caesar chicken wrap for a grand total of $25. Bloody hell! There better be flakes of gold in those delights.
Please have your boarding pass ready. Staff, thank you.
Hi.
Hiya. Yes, just grab that. There we go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're sending them down now. Are you right?
I'll be spending about 10 hours of my life with Zulu Romeo November. This Saab 340B first flew with American Eagle in May 1996 before coming to Rex in 2009, making our ride about 26 years old at the time of writing.
Alright, will do.
Seat pitch is 30 inches and there is a fold-down tray table which doesn't move back and forth. Seat width is 18.5 inches and there is a seat recline button which doesn't work. So the seat does not recline. We have a lot to get through, so let's not waste any time and start taking off, shall we? Let's go! We took off from runway 19, Brisbane's new runway, which was opened in July 2020. A right turn was carried out to take us towards our first destination for today, which is Toowoomba. The view of Brisbane in the distance was most stunning on this perfect morning. The flight path towards Toowoomba was westerly, covering a distance of 134 kilometers. We were in the air for 25 minutes before we swooped over the town and landed at Welcamp Airport. On this short sector to Toowoomba, only bottled water was given out. Since the flight was only half full, it was done quickly. This was when the flight attendant approached me and curiously asked, "Mr. So, you're the only one joining us the whole way to Isa today. Did you know there's a non-stop flight from Brisbane?" I then explained I specifically chose this flight to document it for my YouTube channel. From then on, she perked up and gave me a warm welcome and told me not to hesitate to ask for anything. I really felt like some KFC, seriously. All jokes aside, this set the tone for the rest of the journey towards Isa. We're now approaching Toowoomba. It is Queensland's largest inland town with a population of just over 169,000 people. It is also called Garden City due to the countless number of gardens to wander through. This is Welcamp Airport. The runway length can handle a 747, so it's not surprising Virgin Australia's 777s, which have been taken out of service, are stored here presently. Welcamp is also Australia's first privately funded airport. While some passengers got off, this was the only airport where we took on passengers. As the journey wore on, I would lose my fellow passengers one by one, like some sort of tribal council on Survivor. At each of these stops, we were there for no more than 20 minutes, and we aren't allowed off the aircraft. As soon as the new passengers were buckled in, we were off. Taking off from runway 12, our next airport was Charleville. We would turn right on takeoff, which would take us on a westerly flight path towards our destination. Flying time between Toowoomba and Charleville is 1 hour 40 minutes. This meant it was time to roll out the carts. Rex offers complimentary coffee, tea, water, and a sweet or savory snack. Since my filming intentions were now made known, the flight attendant insisted I take both snacks so I can showcase what the airline offers. Now this is what I call service. The one toilet situated behind the cockpit is extremely cozy, even for my 170cm frame. I could not stand up straight. Oh, bring along a bottle of hand sanitizer because there is no running water in here. We're now approaching Charleville Airport. There are about 3,300 people living here, and 3% of the population was born in Vietnam. Charleville is also one of the 9 Queensland bases of the Royal Flying Doctor Service. This is one of the two airports we were allowed to get off and stretch our legs. I took that opportunity to head into the terminal to get my camera gear juiced up because there are no charging ports on the aircraft. We're only on the ground for 30 minutes, so don't get carried away. Like deja vu, we're now all boarded, seatbelts fastened and ready to go. Taking off from runway 30, we would turn left and that gave me a vantage view of the town as we departed. We're now headed due west for Quilpie, a distance of 198 kilometers and a flight time of 45 minutes. This is Quilpie, a town of just under 600 people. The economy of this area is based on grazing and mining. The area also has the world's largest boulder opal and extensive deposits of gas and oil. Majority of the employees in these industries are local residents, so this town has some of the country's lowest rate of unemployment. As a bunch of passengers got off, we took on more cargo for the forward journey. Cargo loading comes in a form of a reversing ute. How endearing! It's time to get going towards our next stop, which is Windora. Let's throttle up and take off, shall we? After taking off from runway 09, we turn left and looking at Quilpie from up here just gives you a sense of how isolated this part of the country is. The landscape also gets a lot drier and very brown from here on. Our next stop at Windora is just 207 kilometers away and a flight time of 30 minutes. As this was only a short sector, only bottled water was given out. But I used this time to tuck into my lunch, which was my other reasonably priced chicken Caesar wrap from Brisbane Airport. I looked really hard to find the gold flakes in there, but there was none. As we approach Windora, you can see how much the landscape has transformed. Now it looks like something from another planet. The scenery is absolutely stunning. Windora is a town of 115 people. The main economy of this area is sheep and cattle grazing, plus oil and gas industries being the latest developments. It's not uncommon to have summer temperatures here reach 50 degrees, and we've landed at the airport today at a relatively cool 39 degrees. Windora marks the halfway point of this journey where everyone gets off to refresh themselves. Even the crew follow us into the small tiny little airport for a break. It's here we start bonding with fellow passengers and we exchange our personal stories of why we're on today's flight. I chat with the school inspector who's getting off in Baduri, where he will drive a few hours into the country to look at a school at an Aboriginal community outpost. Then there is another one heading to Birdsville to work at the town's one and only tavern because it is the start of the tourist season. And then there's me, crazy enough to do this milk run the entire way just because. Welcome to Windora. At this stage we're making our way west and we are progressively heading towards the border. So the next stop will be Birdsville. Yep. So when we reach Birdsville, we are so close to the South Australian border, we will be closer to Adelaide than we will be to Brisbane. Yes, this is the halfway point where the crew stop to take their lunch. So the stop here is about 45 minutes. They've actually shut the plane down. All of the passengers have also got off the plane to chill in this. I'm not sure if you even call this an airport. This looks more like a little hut. Yeah, but it's cute. Yeah, so everyone is sitting there having a drink, taking a bite of whatever sandwiches they brought along from whatever airports they came from. Yeah, we should be heading back onto the plane soon. Once settled in and after a quick head count, we were glad to have the air conditioning on to get going. Although at this stage, we've picked up several extra passengers in the form of pesky flies buzzing with us to our next stop. Now that we've gotten more acquainted with each other, there were lots of chatter going on amongst ourselves in the cabin as we journeyed towards our next stop at Birdsville. This flight will take us further west towards the border with South Australia, and we cover 381 kilometers over 45 minutes. Doing this flight in summer can result in some bumps along the way. By now, ground temperature is in its mid-40s, leading to some very severe thermals. These updrafts of hot air rushes towards the aircraft from underneath, and it feels like we're constantly getting punched very hard from beneath. Obviously, from here on, it felt like a roller coaster ride. This is as outback can be. We're coming into Birdsville, a town of just over 100 people. This town is a stopping point for those driving into the Simpson Desert. From here, we're only about 12 kilometers from the border with South Australia, so we're now closer to Adelaide than we are to Brisbane. When I say closer, I mean in Australian terms, because Adelaide is still over 4,000 kilometers away from here. A bunch of guys left the aircraft here, including those I was chatting with, so it became quiet again in the cabin as we taxied for takeoff. After we took off from runway 32, our nose turned right to point northwards for the first time since we started from Brisbane. We fly that heading, clocking a distance of 172 kilometers for 40 minutes. It is now 3:40 p.m. and I've been commuting for just over 7.5 hours. This is a good time to take it all in and to soak in the immense beauty of what's before me. Australia is a beautiful country and I can never seem to get enough of this stunning view. It is truly an extremely breathtaking experience. We're coming into Birdsville, a town of 140 people. This town is home to a spa where visitors can relieve their aches and pains in the warm waters originating from the Birdsville bore, which was drilled back in 1905. It still flows today, making this a truly unique experience in the outback. Just like that, I'm the only one left on this aircraft. Everyone has gotten off in Birdsville, and now it's just me and a flight attendant. I'm not sure if anyone is getting on to the aircraft here, but yeah, let's see. Okay, I'm all by myself, at least for now. So I'm told not many people take the entire trip from Brisbane to Isa. They would normally take the non-stop. So I'm the only one crazy enough to do it all the way from Brisbane to Isa with all the stops. Yeah, let's see who gets on here. Doors are closed. I have this aircraft all to myself to the next stop and then to the final stop in Isa. So I have this aircraft all to myself. Nice! Off we went towards our next stop, and I wanted to fully take it all in, my private jet experience. However, as we pushed along, the turbulence became so bad to the point I thought we were going to get ripped apart in the air. Obviously, there was nothing much to do but strap ourselves in for the ride. The flight time to Boulia is 35 minutes. We somehow turned left and right avoiding these storm cells, and very soon 35 minutes became 40 and it became 50. It was so stormy we couldn't land in Boulia, so we pushed on to Isa to complete this journey. Even though by now we've come out of the storm, the thermal updrafts were still battering our aircraft from beneath. The turbulence was becoming a little long drawn for my liking. And for the first time since I was 12 years old, I actually reached for the airsick bag. I was really surprised that I could be affected by motion sickness after all this time. I was really queasy right until after I arrived at the hotel. With our impending arrival into Mount Isa, let's sum up this incredible flight. The best way to describe this would be the overland rail experience, but from 20,000 feet. I really appreciate the work put in by the crew, because if I was exhausted by this flight, imagine the fatigue they must face if they are rostered for one of these runs. And they'll do it all again tomorrow in the opposite direction back to Brisbane. This route that I'm on is called the Western Route No. 2. It's a Queensland government's regulated air service contract scheme, which is renewed every 5 years. This scheme helps to keep these isolated regional towns connected because, as you saw, there are very little sealed roads which lead in and out of these towns, And the airlinks, like the one that I'm on, presents a vital support link for these places which would otherwise be cut off from civilization. What a day it has been. So I am very ready to arrive in Mount Isa to conclude this extremely long day of travel. Thanks. See ya. Oh, VIP.
You are. Oh, one person.
Yeah, I was the only one for the last two flights, last two sectors.
You are the VIP.
Yeah. Thank you. There. My bag is the only one. They didn't even push it to me, they just stopped it there. There you go. The one and only passenger of that flight. Welcome to Mount Isa, everyone. And that was the milk run with Regional Express Airlines from Brisbane to Mount Isa. And here I am. I'll be here overnight and then I will join them for another milk run tomorrow from here in Mount Isa to Cairns via the Mornington Island. So that will be, I think, another 5 stops. So tomorrow's milk run won't be as intense as this one. So it's a lot shorter. The distance isn't as long, but I think it would be a little bit more scenic because we're actually leaving the mainland of Australia towards Mornington. Well, thanks for following me on this journey today. So if you've watched the video up to this point, thanks for all your support, and chuck me a follow up on my socials so you can actually follow my travels in real time, and it can actually also give you an idea of the kind of traveling that I'm doing, and it gives you an indication of the kind of videos that will be coming up on my YouTube channel. Okay, so until my next video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, tap that bell notification icon as well, and I'll see you for my next one. Travel safe, and I'll see you all again. Bye.